and he was the nemesis of all the foes of the 761st, and other men prayed to ride the crazy and share the reckless thrill of killing the hated enemy that killed their comrades. And he is now living on borrowed time that all human equations, born G.H. Christie, should have been dead long ago and should have the Congregational Medal of Honor at least. Unlike Rivers and Turtley, Christie survived World War II, only to find himself in the Korean War over the protest of his wife, Margaret, who was hospitalized at the time from an auto accident. In Korea, Christie was severely wounded by a rocket fire. His lower mouth was completely severe, and he suffered internal injuries. His remaining years were spent in and out of hospitals. He was courageous to the end. In 1976, due to complications from his war wound, Major Warren G.H. Christie, the baddest man in the 761st, finally laid down to rest.
On behalf of the Rivers family, Ruby Rivers, 761st Black Panther Tank Battalion Congressional Medal of Honor candidate. It was rough during that period with the rain, the mud, the cold driving sleet, and the ferocity with the crack net of the SS troops. Bitterly contested every inch, with terrorists thickly sown with mines and cleverly concealed anti-tank positions. The Black Panthers smashed through the French towns of Aubrey, Dedeline, and Chateau-Vaud with S. Sergeant Rivers in the lead tank. In this stretch, Rivers, a tank platoon sergeant, became adept at liquidating the enemy with his 50 caliber machine gun, accounting for a large number of enemy dead. At one point, his tank knocked out 2 enemy tanks only seconds apart. The dashing young fighter from Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma, became a legend in his battalion. During a daylight attack, Rivers encountered a roadblock which held up the advance. With utter discreet for his personal safety, he courageously dismounted from his tank in the face of direct enemy fire, attached a cable to the roadblock, and had it moved off the road, thus permitting the combat team to proceed. His prompt action prevented a serious delay in this offensive operation and was instrumental to the success of the assault. Lieutenant Hammond recalled, communicating by radio with Rivers. "Don't go into that town, Sergeant. It's too hot in there." The answer came back in a respectful tone of voice. "I'm sorry, sir. I'm already through that town." On the way to Gourbling, France, on November 16, 1944, Rivers' tank ran over a double-teller anti-tank mine. The explosion was so great that it blew off the right track of the bullet springs, and the undercarriage tossing the tank sideways. When the medical team arrived, they found Rivers behind his tank, holding his leg that was torn to the bone. They cleaned and dressed the wound and attempted to inject Rivers with morphine. The medics told the CO that Rivers must be evacuated immediately. Rivers refused. He also refused morphine and to remain alert. Rivers pulled himself to his feet, pushed past the CO, and took over the second tank. At this moment, a hell of enemy mortar fire came in. Orders were given to disperse and take cover. The objective was to cross the river in Googling after combat engineers had constructed a Bailey Bridge. The enemy tried desperately to stop the construction, but the Black Panthers held them off. In the afternoon of November 17th, the bridge was completed. Rivers led the way across and the Black Panthers took up positions in and around Goodwin. The evening passed to continue with combat. Before dawn on November 18th, the CO, along with the medical team, visited each tank. When they visited Rivers, it was obvious that he was in extreme pain. Rivers' leg was Now he's down, and it was discovered that infection was setting in, and he was not evacuated immediately. The legs would have to be amputated, or he could die from the infection. Rivers stated that he would not abandon his men. Throughout the day, both sides held and defended their positions. At dawn on November 19th, the assault on Bogota began. When the Black Panthers became from behind cover, the morning air outside building was lit by tracers from enemy anti-tank guns. The Black Panthers were getting knocked out one by one. Rumors spotted the anti-tank positions and placed a concentrated barrage of fire on them, knocking them out one by one. This allowed the trapped Black Panthers to escape with their lives. Rivers kept firing on these anti-tank positions until several tracers were seen going into his turret. Trenton Anderson described the hit from a comparatively close range of 200 yards. The Germans threw two HE shots that scored. The first shot hit near the front of the tank and penetrated with ricocheting fragments confined inside the steel wall of the tank. The second shot went to his head and burned him from the rear. And the intrepid leader, the fearless daring fighter, was no more. Ruben Rivers did not have to die on that cold, dreary November morning in France. 3 days prior, he received $1 million wound. He could have gone home as a war hero with a silver star and purple heart, knowing that the Black Panthers loved and respected him as an outstanding soldier and comrade. Ruben Rivers was put in for the Congressional Medal of Honor by this CO, Captain David Williams, on November 20th, 1944. The procedures to review the CMH requests were violated by higher authorities. To this date, no Black serviceman has ever been awarded the CMH for his active duties during World War II. On behalf of the Turley family, First Sergeant Samuel Turley, 761st Black Panther Tank Battalion Congressional Medal of Honor candidate. Samuel Turley, considered the battalion's best top sergeant, was looked up to by both officers and enlisted men. His friendship with David Williams began in Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, where they got into trouble together for shaking hands. It was inappropriate for a white officer to shake the hand of a black NCO during those days. On November 9, 1944, one of Turley's drivers had a case of the jitters. Turley told him to stay back. I'll take it up. And he did, leaving the safety of command post behind. On this day, Charlie Company ran into an anti-tank trap in the vicinity of Morville, France. The enemy's crack 13th SS Panzer Division began knocking out tanks, one by one. Down the line, it was a living nightmare of bloody hell. Turley immediately dismounted his burning tank and organized a dismounted combat team. Pinned down and unable to return fire, Turley ordered the retreat of his men. Under this heavy artillery and small arms fire, Turley proved that he was more than just the best top sergeant by emerging and covering the retreat of his men. This action allowed his men to escape with their lives. Tredan Anderson described First Sergeant Turley's devotion duty on that day, standing behind the ditch straight up, with the enemy with machine gun shots as fast as they could come out from the muzzle of the red-hot barrel. He stood there, titanic-like, brave and great, covering for his men, and then fell, cut through the middle by German machine gun bullets that ripped through his body as he stood firing that MG to the last. That's how Turley went down, and his body crumbled to the earth. His fingers still gripped that trigger. We made it, and 80 high explosive shell hit the spot where the Turley was. And the last we saw was pieces of machine gun and Turley flying in every direction. An explosion tore the earth and all around it to shreds. But we made it. First Sergeant Turley was posthumously awarded the Silver Star for his inspiring courage above and beyond the call of duty. Thank you. I call now my father, Joseph E. Wilson, Jr.
Good afternoon. What we've seen, heard this afternoon, anything from my father. I'm here to ask for something for this nation, this country, all servicemen and all of its people. My father, Sergeant Rivers, First Sergeant Turley, all gave to their country what any soldier would give, what any person in this country would give. And I hope that we get what we deserve and ask. Thank you.
To thank Joe Wilson for making us aware that there are many, many things that we can do now to ensure that the remarkable feats of our three armed people today will remain forever an example and role models for our future. My husband, as you all know, was a true soldier. He never thought of himself as a one person. In the life that he led after his Korean injuries, he would sit and review his come-out fighting book, The Story of the 761st. He would cry. He would talk about his fallen friends and his surviving friends. He would trace the battles throughout the book. He remarked about their heroism. He never mentioned himself as a person who was a hero. He always included himself as the man of the 761st. Heroism of all of the men, not only himself. He said that our future lived with the memory of these men, that this was the greatest contribution that our people could make. He did not stop with World War II. In a few years after World War II, he went into Korea. And I have to admit that I rejected that idea of him going again into battle. I needed him. Our children needed him. But he told me in no uncertain terms, this is my job. I'm a soldier. And when I got him back, he was a prophet of a dying man. We're talking about an award given to a certain few of us. An award that he many times talked about should be given to the entire 761st Unit Battalion. And this award would mean a great deal to some people. It would be a great honor for my husband to receive this award. But I want to tell you that my husband and these two of the men today gave to their country an award that can never be superseded. They gave their lives, and for that we should honor them. Thank you.
I call now on David J. Williams II, former commanding officer of Able Company, 761st Tank Battalion.
The morphine needle in my right hand was within a half inch of Sergeant Rivers' leg. I could have told my sergeant to hold him down. I said, Reuben, you're going back. You got $1 million wound. You're going back to Tecumseh. You're getting out of this. You got a Silver Star, a Purple Heart. He says, Captain, you're going to need me. I said, I'm giving you a direct order. You're going back. He said, and he's got the stretcher. He pushed the needle away, got up. He said, this is one order, the only order I'll ever disobey. And I said, listen to me. Once across that bridge, there's no coming back. They're over on our right flank. And I said, the 4th Armored Division with 30 tanks got murdered here. So he pushes by me. He goes up in another tank, Henry Conway, orders him out. He gets in the turret. At that time, they were marking us with smoke. And I said, well, medics, you go back. I'll see Sergeant Rivers tonight. So we took the little place and waited while the engineers put the bridge in. And I went to see him. What does 2 and 3 days mean anyway? Well, he was good. And he would have been an officer. He probably would have wound up being company commander. So we went across the bridge, and I put him on a hill with his companion tank to overlook. Weston and I were going to attack with the other tanks. And listen, CCB, the 4th Armored, got murdered in the same place. And I thought, here it comes our turn. So that night, after we took the town of Gebling, I go up to see him again. And the medic says to me, get him out of here, because I said, I'm not sure we can get it back, because they were shelling the road into the town with the reserve infantry coming in. I said, Reuben, Richardson will take you back tonight. I'm giving you another order. He says, Captain, you know better than that. He says, this is going to be tough. He says, another 2 days, or it won't make any difference. And the medic says, listen, he's gangrene. And right, I said, Reuben. And then they started to shell us, and I went back to my tank. The morning of the 19th, Weston and I led the attack, and I radioed up to the 2 of them, James and Reuben. I said, watch over us. Well, Weston's tank got hit as we left the outskirts of the village, tearing the gun off. And I looked through my glasses, I saw 5 Panthers and 2 Panzer Jaegers with 88s, and I thought, my God. The intelligence never told me they were over there. So I got on the radio, I said, okay, everybody back. I saw Lieutenant Hammond, that was Sergeant Rivers' platoon leader. I saw a shell going to him, 2 men tumbling out. So I said, and then Rivers comes back to me, he says, DJ, I see them. I'll take them on. And I said, get back. And then I see him spitting out tracers. You can see the thing going. And I saw a big tracer, which meant an 88, hit the turret. And then a couple more hit the turret. His companion tank, James, they went after him now. And I said, James, get back. And he did. So I knew that I saw Ivory Fox, his gunner, or his driver, running down the hill. And I knew that when they don't get out of the tank, they're dead. He and Ivory Hilliard were both. Hilliard got out, ran into the enemy lines, and, well, it was sickening. And as I say, I should have hit him with that morphine. But I remember then, but I'll tell you something funny, not funny. I had conversations with him, arguing with him, and he said to me one night, he says, my Indian side says it doesn't hurt. My Negro side says it hurts. I says, what the hell does your white side tell you? To get back. I said, he starts to laugh. I said, because when the shock wears off a wound, it must have been horribly painful. But he was poker-faced, and then, of course, it was too late. Then my job was to check each tank when there was wounded or dead, identification. But Ray Roberson, also from Oklahoma, Muskogee, he's the medic. He and Homer Brace, he said, no, Captain, you can't go up there. Because Ivory Fox told us. He said, you don't want to see Sergeant Rivers like this, or Lieutenant Hammond. So I didn't go. And then they brought down Reuben's wristwatch, which I still have. I'm going to have it repaired if I can. It's a GI wristwatch and give it maybe to his nephew who's named for him. But he was a valiant man, absolutely fearless, quiet. He was different. He was very religious. Good, you could see good family background. He had the values. He used to tell me, some of these guys swear too much, including you, Captain. I said, well, we all have our faults. But he would have been an officer, no question about it. And this quest started in 1944. I told Colonel Hunt, came up the afternoon Reuben was killed. He said, I didn't like Hunt. He said, you had quite a battle here. I said, yes, sir. So I want to put Sergeant Rivers in for the CMH. He said, he's already got the Silver Star. I said, well, no, that was for November 8th. He said, what did he do? I said, it's up in the tank there. I'll write it up. And you'll get it on a rest period the next day. Corporal Ashby, who gave an affidavit to Dr. Gibbering, and also the Department of the Army, swearing, he typed in, listen, Ashby's very religious, he doesn't lie, and neither do I. And Homer Bracey, Ted Weston were my witnesses. Both have died in March this year, but I have their affidavits. And naturally, A Company, we had a brotherhood. And each one would give his life for the other. I know that. And there's only 10 of us left. Herman Taylor, we all talk every week. They're all naturally behind this thing. I got a call from John, talked to Johnny Stevens. He said, how are you doing on that? I said, well, carry this Colonel Sears from there to the division, to Corps, to Patton. Well, I know well that they didn't do anything with it, because we have proof, which I hand the good doctor, a document of Sears' comments and Hunt's comments after the war, such adjectives as lazy, slothful, no responsibility, no initiative, black officers aren't worth very much. And he paid me a backhanded compliment, which is not true. He said the only one that did well were led by a white officer. Well, that's nonsense, because Gates was good, they were all good. So, I don't know what the Department of the Army is going to do. I know the doctor is sympathetic, and he'll follow through. He's done a lot of research on this thing. But for the Rivers family, for the nieces and nephews, and the sister, I'll be a pain in the neck to the day I die. And I've got an ace in the hole that the Department of the Army doesn't even know about. My son is a big-time reporter, he told me. If they vacillate, let me know, and we'll investigate them. And we'll do it to Congress, too. It's a shame that a man like this, Creasy, Turley, I don't know what's going to be done with those two, because there's no living witnesses and no company commanders left. God spared me for this mission, I'm sure. And by the way, I went to Reuben's grave December 16th in France. I went to all the graves. I was over there for the Battle of the Bulge celebration. My son drove me and could walk around those graves. Thank God I didn't have the Sears Hunt report before I went out of it sick. There they are. Nobody visits. I mean, the parents are dead of all the guys. And I thought, how sad. Here he lies. All these years, all of them. Turley was next to him. And the lesser lights, these. And I thought, for God's sakes, let's have justice done. Besides, A Company, and there's only 10 of us, they all say, we want a hero for young black kids besides Al Sharpton. And amen to that, or Magic Johnson. This is a real American hero of the ilk of Sergeant York, or any of them. And I think I pray every night God's going to give this thing to us, and I think so. Anyway, that's all.
Ms. Woodford, sister of the late Sergeant Reuben Rivers.
Good afternoon. My name is Anise Rivers Woodford, and I'm one of 6 sisters of Reuben Rivers. There are 9 of us still living, 3 brothers and 6 sisters. And I feel so sad today because actually I learned something that I was not aware of. I was not aware of the Panthers. Their name was the Panthers. I just learned that today. Also, the two young ladies who spoke earlier, they really said it all. Plus, Mr. Williams. All of you do an excellent job of describing my brother Reuben. But one thing that I can say about my brother that nobody knows about, I was the last of his family to see him when he left the little Oklahoma town, the muddy road where he left from. He had to walk back to the station because the roads were so bad that he could not go by car transportation. I stood there and I looked at my brother. I was just a little girl, but I really cried because I loved my brother. And when he left, he just kept turning around waving. He waved and he waved and he waved. And then there was maybe 2 or 3 miles that he stood there and he waved again. So I feel proud that I really was the last sister to see him. But I do know that there were several people who saw my brother that know more about what actually happened than I did. But I remember also when World War II broke out, we were sitting in the classroom. And when they announced the fact that the World War had broken out, it was like a bomb or something hit. We were just little kids, but we realized what a tragedy that was. And then my brother, my mother had 3 sons to go to World War II. My oldest brother, Robert, Reuben was his second, and Dewey. Dewey is no longer with us also. But my oldest brother, Robert, is still here. He remembers everything. As a matter of fact, he said he was there 2 days after Reuben was killed. And he tried to tell us about it, but for some reason, my brother didn't really want to talk about it. And another thing that I really regret is, my mother wanted to have my brother's body sent back home. But my father said no. He said it would only bring back sorrow all over again. But I used to hear my mother crying. But I didn't realize what she was crying about. She was crying for her son, I knew that. So when my father refused to have his body sent back, but I feel that my brother is somewhere up in the elements floating around, which he was a religious person, so am I. My mother and father, they brought us up religiously. I feel that he's floating up there in the elements somewhere. And if he should receive the Congressional Medal of Honor, which I really feel that he deserved it, maybe his body, his soul, will come home to rest. Because I know that he was a leader, and I know that he wanted to make someone proud of him, and he was always saying, you know, and he never mentioned race. That's another thing that I just heard. I never heard my brother mention race, because he was a man, an honorable man, and I think that's what his chief ambition was, to be a leader, a man. He fought for a country that actually did not recognize him. He was not recognized as a man, a soldier, but he still fought for his country. And I keep wondering today, was that really his country that he was fighting for? Well, maybe I could feel a little bitter, but I'm not, because I feel religious, and maybe just as I've asked, and I hope it truly will happen. If he should receive an honor, his soul will come home to rest. Thank you.
I call now Dr. Daniel Garin, Shaw University, U.S. Pentagon.
The speech, I'm just going to say what I would love from our country. Concentration how serious the Army is to put this whole matter in its proper context and to demonstrate that justice can be done even after the fact or the event. The Army is quite serious. This is not just a political gesture. We have a mandate not just to look for recommendations that may have been unprocessed or that were or procedures were violated somehow, but to also look at second-tier medals like the Distinguished Service Cross and the Silver Stars, and to evaluate those in a comparative way to ascertain whether these are the same caliber. So that's where we are at this point in time in research. By the end of August, although the project runs until September 30th. When that time comes and the final submission is made, then we have to wait for the War Department's action of the study. After several months has passed and announcement is made, and Congress has decided to accept the recommendations, then the President will act immediately. And this will be a very large or very big news event. In the event, the three gentlemen from the 761st Tank Battalion, Major Warren Creasy, Sergeant Wilson, First Sergeant Charlie, are not successful in being awarded the Medal of Honor, and there's nothing further that we can do, but that will be left now to the individuals or concerned parties to take the matter, fight a two-pronged attack. That is to say, one political and one legal. To galvanize the legal members of Congress as well as the case of the matter.